Okay, welcome back to part 3. So part 3 is where we are going to do a sculpting. Okay, this one is we are just going to just sculpt. Okay, we are looking at sculpting from one object straight away to sculpt a face. Example. Okay, so when you start this, first and foremost, you need to hit on your light box, or if you don't see the light box here button, so you just hit the comma key. All right, and create a Dynamesh. Up to you. It's going to be Dynamesh or Polysphere. Either one you can work with. If you're working with Polysphere, then you have to, click on Dynamesh and adjust it. So I'm just going to work with Dynamesh first. Double click it, and then Dynamesh is now created. Okay. And when you do this, right? First and foremost, you need to kind of like shape it, which means you are carving things. How do you carve things? Is first and foremost, you need to move your meshes. It's like you're playing with a dough, right? So I hold the hotkey, I make my draw size slightly bigger so that I can pull in more zones or more areas will be affected. You see this radical here, you see the dot, the square, right? That is stating where is your symmetry is going, right? And where is it influencing. So you see two radial, right?
Sir?
Hello, are you there? Can see, right? Right,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
click on it, just hover your brushes, so you can see two radicals
Sir?
here. All right,
Sir?
can is that a
Yeah.
question? Okay, can see, okay, so if you can see, if it's
Uh,
dead center, don't press on on the mesh. Okay, just hover like that. All right, just move your mouse around, don't press anything, just move it on air. Okay, if it's mouse, you just move your mouse lah, don't press it. So if it's on your tablet, means you just don't press on your drawing space, you just hover on the air. Okay, if you hover through, so you can see this, right? There is two options here, two things that you can see. One is the dot, the square, that is practically stating where is it going to focus on, and that is the ultimate strength that is going to pull. And you see the first circle that is from the square, you'll see the first small circle, that is the strongest area of influence. And you see the outer part is practically the soft selection area, so which means it slowly diminishes its strength. Make sense? Okay, so when the draw size is bigger, so when you pull, it will influence big areas. Got it?
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, when it's small, vice versa lah. When it's small, it will just pull on the small component areas. This part you all kind of like understand by now, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So normally what I'll do is this is what I'll do. I'll use a bigger size, draw size, so I can just pull. So if it's center, you see this dots here, it will come to the center, that shows it is right drop dead center. See, you pull, right, and then you can just pull things around. Pop, pop, pop. So first thing that you want to do is get these shapes or the silhouette. Okay, I use the move tool first, is to get the silhouette. It's okay if it's not sharp yet, but you get the rough idea. This is what you call the blockout process. Okay, just get the silhouette, the shape, the big shapes first, okay, of how a face as a whole, a skull should look like. Okay, push it in slowly, right? Don't be too scared, because this is just a practice. Okay, so once you get this, what do you do next? Okay, you're happy with this. Since you're playing with Dynamesh, what you have to do is hold control and hit it like that. Okay, Ken?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So next thing that you have to do is everyone is okay, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So
Yeah.
Now that you have already done that dynamesh thingy and so on and so forth, you can play with low poly first. Again, I'll just go back to geometry, just z-remesh it. So I have cleaner distribution of meshes and so on and so forth. Okay, once that is done, let's double check dynamesh is still on. Leave it as it is. Okay, now if you have already done, see the big shape, now what you have to do is go to either any type of brush. You can start off with standard brush, or I like to use clay build-up. Alright, so clay build-up, this is where I will do my draw size. I will reduce my draw size. Okay, maybe I will change my alpha depending. You can play with either small, I mean rounded alpha or square, up to you, whichever that suits best. Right, there's no statements of saying you only have to use this. It's up to you. Okay, you decide. So first thing that you want to sculpt is alternate. By holding alternate is to Z sub it, or holding just sculpting on top of it is practically is pulling, like I said last week. Okay, the first intro. So now I'm gonna do the eye socket first. I always start with the eye. I'll do a landmark first. Okay, just go around it and kapush, you're done. Okay, you can smoothen it if you want to, but be careful when you're smoothing things. Okay, sometimes smoothen will just destroy the actual look of it first, in the very beginning. See, when I smoothen it, you cannot see much. It loses its it kind of like it tries to smoothen every component here, then all the creases will lose. So for now, do a landmark first, like that. All right, use the Z sub first to just do a landmark like this from the eye socket, and then you just have to drag it down. This is for the nostril area. Got it? Ken?
Yeah.
Alright, so that is done. So which means this part is already to start off with. The landmark is there. So this is where you want to see the in your eye socket, right? So you'll have this tear lit here, so it kind of like it just drops down and then give you that creases in between here, so that it will form this mouth area, and then it will give you a good tip for to start off with, or form a landmark for you to start off with. Okay, next thing that you want to do is you want to separate this. So practically what you want to do is you want to give a little dip here for the your to define your cheekbones and your jaw or your chin. Okay, so once you have done that, and then you have this area above your forehead, it's also dipping in, so you can just do a very mild dip around here. Okay, right, see what I'm doing now is from landmarks I'm slowly forming the big shapes. Okay, hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so now when I see this, don't worry about all these jaggedy lines yet. Okay, you're just seeing the big shape. Let the big shape say the give you the silhouettes for you to read on with. And now I can just add on the nose area, or if you want to do a skull, you can just do that. Okay, push it inwards or Z sub it. Okay, you can see if you want to do that, or whichever areas that you want to work with. All right, then after you have already done the base landmark, now what you can do is you can add a little bit of density to the mesh, so that you'll have a little bit more stronger areas where you can then sculpt and give more defined I would say shapes. Okay, So I did Control D again. I added some division, and now I start sculpting. Okay, with my clay brush. Okay. Once I do this, say if I want to move this over, I use my move tool or B. When you press B is the shortcut key for brushes. B, M, M is for move, brush M, and then you've got a couple of options here. You've got the topology, you've got the move tool, right? So if let's say move tool is practically it is pulling the whole thing, right? Whereas move topology will only move um, the faces, or it's more on the topological term of 3D terms and so on and so forth. So you can play with it, and later on you can choose which is the best option for move tools. Okay, so you move it a little bit just to get the shape. Don't be too carried away with just details. Move it. Okay, so you kind of like, oh, okay, now I can start off with my sculpting. Alright, so you move it. So make sure, depending on what kind of stylized character that you're working with, right, whether it's going to be Europe or whether it's going to be Asian character, whatever character that you're working with, just move it and get the big shape flushed out first. Right, then what you can do is B, D, S, which is damn standard. Right, damn standard, this is standard brushes. I'm not going to talk about these brushes that I'm having here now. I will share with you these brushes. You can just it's free anyways, you can just use these tools, but for now let's go with the standards. Okay, um, choose these brushes, whether you use your hotkey and then reduce the size. Damn standard will give you the lines like this. Okay, landmark for the lips. Okay, see that? Just push it, it will push it in, but it will give you a fine line like that. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so once you get that done, so what you can do is you can now use your move tool. You can move it whether with small size or radius brushes and so on and so forth, up to you. Or you can use the move topology. So this tool will give you a different uh, I would say a different way of pulling your meshes out. Okay, so you just pull your cheekbones so that it forms a good shape as from side, from front. Okay, adjust it and then smoothen areas a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to move the chin. Okay, see, this is how you're slowly building. Take your time now. You don't need to be a speed sculpted straight away. Okay, you all do tend to have mistakes, so it's fine. So here from the side view, if you rotate the camera and you have a look at it, it's like, what is this? What is happening? So here your jawline is kind of like, this one, it doesn't make sense. So it's kind of like it's going offset, and it's weird. Okay, if I want to cut this, how do I do that? So either you can just pull it by having a bigger size brush, where it's going to have a bigger influence on that, you know, it will have a bigger influence in the brush radius. Okay, pull it over, up to you. Or you can do this if you are into very sharp corners and so on and so forth. You want to have sharp corners, so what you can do is you can do a slicing. How do you do slicing? First and foremost, you need to off your perspective, which is P, or you see this dynamic here, off it, so that it is orthographic view. So when it's orthographic view, it is drop dead side. Okay, so these are the things that you have to always keep in mind to switch. Okay, why do you need this is when you're cutting, you want to be precise. You don't want to have like awkward kind of like cutting. So you don't want to have one is skewed and it's not symmetrically cutting in line. So I hope you get the idea. Can I? Yes, no?
Yes.
So far can follow? Or am I going too fast?
Confirm.
Sure, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Okay, we have already covered masking. We have already covered subtools and geometry. Another additional stuff is if you hold Control and Shift together, right? This is to hide certain components, isolating components, right? So if you just do this, you see this green color. When this happens, Control and Shift, this is practically hiding anything that is falling under the green radar. It is only isolating that part visible, and the other one that is not falling under that radar is going to be hidden, right? In order for you to come out from here or similar to mask, you just have to click outside here, or you do this, isolate certain components, and then you do another one more, just drag something like that. Okay, just drag it, right? Drag a selection outside here with Control and Shift together. And if you don't want any, you want to unhide everything, just click once by holding Control and Shift. Click once outside, everything will be then uh, visible in the screen. Okay, right? That is for isolation. Can clear?
Yeah.
Can right? Under the same isolation, you can then do a slicing, which means you go to the brush, you click on the brush, you've got all these options here, which is the clip curve, clip rectangle, and crease tools, and so on and so forth. So all this trim brushes and all that, it's going to give you different types of options. So normally for cutting these areas and so on and so forth, or you want to cut like really sharp corners or sharp angled you know sections and so on and so forth, what you have to do is you can try with the trim brush, or you can just go with the clip curve. So I like curve most of the time. Why is because if I'm going to do symmetrical cut, say if I'm going to do from here, I'm going to do a symmetrical cut like that. Alright, okay, see this? When you drag by holding Control and Shift together, as you drag, you'll see the dotted line, and then you'll see the gradient that is forming to one side, right? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you, the gradient part is where it's going to cut. Okay, can it's like a knife tool. If you let
Okay.
go, see it is cut on that gradient part. Make sense? So
Yeah.
this only clip curve will give you symmetrical cutting. Trim brush will not give you, like for instance, if I use Control Shift and I use trim curve, or yeah, let's say trim curve, right? So you see this scissors tool, and then you'll see, okay, that's trim tool. So if I want to cut here again, see it will say freeze, say okay, let's go enter, or you can just freeze this. And if I cut, see it only cuts one side, correct?
Yeah.
Alright, so just be careful with that. So if let's say you want to have symmetrical cut, then you go for clip curve. Right, please try it. You have to try it, and then you have to define it. So from here, maybe trim brush might work, but I just use clip curve. Okay, be careful when you do this. It'll give you an awkward cut. Okay, so you have to see which is the best options. Okay, so it's sharp, huh? So clip curve. Boop. Now I get a kind of like a better skull. Can okay. This is always done in isometric view. So you can get this trim brush. You can also do this by holding Control Shift. you can go, you drag it upwards, and then holding alternate, it will then give you the curve here. Look, example. But that one will, I'll post a video. I think I'll post a video after the class, perhaps or by today. I'll post a video so you can have a look at trim brushes and kind of like understand what its function is going to be like. Okay, Ken?
Yeah.
Alright. Any questions? So this one you have to try. It takes a couple of iterations. So if not a couple of trials, you're gonna have sometimes it's not gonna work to the extent that you want to. But yeah, that's how it goes. Okay, going back to sculpting. So BDS, so damn standard. Okay, I can even go for freehand. Right, I'm just gonna cut, and then depending how much pressure that you're putting on the tablet, okay, you do all these cuts. I'm going to do all these landmarks first, right? I'm going to have this what we call clavices around here, some room, the mouth, okay, have it in mind here, so maybe I'll just want to do that. Later we go ahead and add in more and more detail, right? So it should go inwards, okay, that. Now for the nose, add in some nostril holes, okay, then drag this over the nostril components, something like that, okay. And maybe you want to pull this area a little bit. This is where the move tool comes in, different move tool, the topological move tool, so it is not so heavily influencing other components around. Can I? So now you move it, adjust it accordingly. Okay. This one won't go like weird shape like that and all the time. You just have to be careful with this. Yep. See the distance here, all okay, done. Alright, and then go for shift to clay brush tool, make it slightly bigger. Okay, do it slowly. Maybe you want to make the size bigger. It's going like that. Pop, pop, pop. I can do this 1, 2. Then use the sub G sub and go diagonal. So these are all like simple landmark, and I just softly soften the surface. Okay, so once that is done, you kind of got your face. Okay, once the face is done, maybe you want to add in more. Go like that for the eyebrows. Okay, and then for the eyes, maybe you want to just make it slightly small, depending if you want to have the square alpha, up to you. I sometimes just go back and forth, right? Kind of like get your eye back. Okay, don't worry too much, you don't need to be perfect. Just up it, pop, 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 so that it becomes a socket. Okay, once you get this, an example, yeah, once you get this rough idea, now what you have to do is you have to append. Again, come back to subtool. This one you cannot escape from it, you have to do it for the eyeball to go in. So you're gonna go insert, hold on to insert, hover, hit sphere 3D, push, use the move tool. Right, I'm just gonna rotate this canvas, make sure it is straight. I'm gonna drag it out first, make it slightly smaller. Okay, remember, it's not as big as this, right? So the eyeball is fairly small. Okay, somewhere around here. It kind of like 1, 2, 3, right? So that's the distance, or that's the actual what do you call, um, spacing between both eyes. Okay, so drag it in the middle here, perhaps Okay, and then rotate it to the side, so it's rotate side, drag it over. Okay, position it wherever you want to position, which is quite accurate. You can then use, you can scale it down a little bit. Okay, start off like that. All right, an example, and then use alt, oh sorry, not alt, use control and drag it over to the next area. Okay, press Q. Now you just hold alt and then hit on the head. So now hold alt and click on the head, or you just choose the subtool here on the head. Got it? Can?
Yeah.
Can, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, so now you've got the eyeball. Now you can go back to perspective. Now you got the eyeball, and you know where and how you want to uh, adjust the meshes that is going to be the eye socket. Alright, or how the skin is going to overlap the eyeball. Make sense?
Yeah.
Right, so this is where you use your clay brush, up to you. Just drag it over, make sure it kind of like, oh okay, just moves in a little bit here and there. Or you can use move tool, BM topology. I like to use topology sometimes, especially when discrete areas like this. Right, drag it over, make sure it kind of like, it closes, give you the form first, and don't worry too much about how the what do you call, your eyebrows is going to cover. Kind of like, oh okay, a rough idea. Use references, please. So this is for testing first. Okay, use this. Okay, kind of like you are now making it more sensible. Okay, so it makes sense to have the eyeball and how your eyelid is going to close the or overlap over the eyeball that you have. Okay, with this now done, okay, here don't worry too much, you can just do, you can come back here and then you can smoothen this area, then go back to your damp standard if you want to. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, smoothen these components around here, just go light. Alright, so here, okay, click a little damp, send it around here so that you will have the um, brows being separated from the eyelids that you have. Okay, so here it will come, it will overlap downwards, right, then this one will go inwards. Okay, somewhere there. Okay, let's smoothen this area, landmark this first. Okay, so this is the tear area. Okay, then you can use the alternate is this up, so you kind of like, sharpen the edges if you want to. Boop, boop, boop. So now you won't have much what they call smoothen areas. Why? Is because your mesh is still in low poly. Perhaps you want to do this, control D again. Once, don't just smack on it. Now if you do this, so you can get, okay, now I get the idea. So the thickness of your eyelid and your eye bag, it should be quite similar. It shouldn't be as thick as this. Perhaps you want to just move this dude inside. B M P. Okay, I'm gonna move this inwards a little bit so that it's nicely sits and it makes sense lah. Yeah, the thickness you have to always take care of. Okay, so it kind of like, oh, it covers. Now we are quite happy with. We move on to start adjusting things that is supposed to adjust lah. So the muscle. So this is where your muscle study comes in handy. Okay, you need to do a little muscle study, see how the jawline is going to be, the jaw bones is going to show up. Like for instance here it's too flat, you don't want it to be too flat, you want it to be a little bit more uh, roundish around here, maybe. So you can adjust this by using your clay brush tool and start sculpting on it. Okay, say that you are happy for now, right? Don't worry too much about all these areas. If you want just to satisfy yourself, you can just make a landmark like this, BTS. Use your alternate and go like whoop. Okay, so it come from inwards and then goes in like that. So the upper lip will always overlap. Okay, see that? This is more of a male character. Got it?
Yeah.
Alright. Then you can go with here, and then this goes smoothen a little bit, so you get this nice dip. Okay. Again, you can do that. It's coming in, and then it stops like that. Okay. So from inwards, come in, and then leave it. Just remove or go smooth on the middle part. So you don't want to have like that. Okay. So once you have done that, say, okay, I'm quite happy. The shape I'm seeing now is making sense. Now you add on the neck. Okay, how do you do the neck? One way or another, you can append tools or you can just do this. Ooh, okay, strong, 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 strong. Okay, do that. Use a move tool, make the size bigger and drag it down. Happy now? So you create a neck. Okay. So the first start, it may not look proper, but as you go on, that's why I said do not spend too much of time on the head detailing just yet, because you may want to come back and adjust things. Okay, you want to get the silhouette right first. Got it? So once you have done this, say if you want to cut this area, I'm just going to go to off perspective and I will unmask it, and I'll use my clip brush tool, control shift, and I will cut this point. Now I get a flat head buzz, right? And I'll use my clay tool, clay brush tool, to reduce the size a little bit, not too big, maybe slightly bigger. Right, so you see this area, the jawline is always there to define the shape or the big silhouette of this character, but you need this thyroid area to be joined together, so it makes sense that it has the Adam's apple that is forming here. So this is connected, right? So you just do that, then smoothen this area, right? So maybe you want to go back to perspective, you want to rotate a bit, and you just bend over, capuche. See that? So it's always below the jawline, it always forms the what they call the Adam's apple. It's how this two is connected. You can see? Okay, I'm gonna just rotate this and shift. And now you've got your neck. Did you get it? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. So just to get more landmarks from here, from this jawline where your ears is going to be, we're just going to diagonally sculpt it, and then use a smooth tool, and this is the uh, there's a name for this, stellar or something. Yep. So this tendon that is going to hold the neck, it's like a two chopstick that is holding the neck so that it doesn't drop. Okay, and here. Okay, so that is the neck part. So in order for you to make sure that this particular sculpt is more sensible, you may want to add a rough idea, I mean, you want to add the ears here to make it look more complete rather than just hanging like this without ears. So maybe here it's kind of like too flat, right? So you want to add, like, you want to add a little bit more meshes or volume to this area. I'm going to make my draw size bigger. Maybe I want to just use a move tool. I will move it outside of it like that. So I kind of like, oh, okay, this is not like, completely flat. Okay, from side, please make sure that you're looking at it. Right. So now adjust it accordingly. Right. Then once you have already done this, say you want to add the ears. Okay, you go in and use an append tool or insert tool. Insert. Oops. Hover. Get a sphere. I use a lot of sphere. Okay. Always, um, if you're going to do a mirroring, so you finish half here, you come do a model around here, you adjust, and then you want to mirror. Always go from left to right. Okay, complete one left. Always move here. There's a couple of way of doing things here. So here I'm going to just, you know adjust it accordingly. Big shapes, don't worry about how it's going to look straight away. Just going to adjust it, make it a little smaller, not so huge. Then I'm going to sculpt it. I'm going to drag this around here. Maybe I want to rotate this. Okay, once I'm happy kind of like, how it looks, so I'm gonna just shift to snap it, so to see it. Okay, maybe I'm just going to do this. Once you're done positioning the mesh, what you have to do is you go to your move tool. Oh, now start moving. This is huge influence, right? So you want to reduce the draw size to slightly smaller and adjust it accordingly. You can see, move this wherever it's supposed to move. Okay, form the big silhouette of the ears. Ears is quite difficult because there's a couple of tendons that is running around, blah blah blah, and it's going to be quite challenging if you're going to go for super detailed straight away. Okay, a rough estimation. Okay, this ears is going to be okay, so you can go here. If it's not okay, just make it slightly bigger, perhaps adjust it so the ears will be in line with the eye line here. Got it? Hello?
Yeah.
Alright, so once you have done this, okay, maybe you want to add more details, or if you want to see from here, you want to see both sides of the ears. So what you have to do is go to the geometry and geometry tab here, and then you go to blah 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 blah, hang on, modify topology. Right, hit the modify topology and go and do this mirror and well. So now you have the ears. Remember, if you want to do mirror and well, you must do it on left, then it will automatically will mirror to the right hand side. Okay, anything that you want to adjust, make sure that you're working on your left. Okay, Ken?
Yeah.
Right, so the head is done in a way, the block out. Maybe you want to adjust a little bit. Okay, this is where you do adjustment. So before you merge, you must make sure that you adjust it first. Okay, do the blockouts, whatever details, enough sufficient details. Okay, sculpt it a little bit. Maybe you want to go inwards, or you want to change this to a bit roundish alpha, right? And reduce the influence or the brush size a little bit. Drag it inwards. And this part here. Okay. See, this is what happens when you are doing Control Z, right? So whenever there is any meshes that is thin, super thin, right? When you're doing any additions around here, or when you're doing like big sculpting around here, it is going to affect the back, right? Especially ears, anything like ears and so on and so forth. So in order for you to just focus on the frontal area, what you have to do is, this is a little adjustment. You go to brush, okay, you go to where's this mask, auto masking, right? Drag this up. You see this back face mask on that. With that, what you can do is, if I make my influence slightly bigger, if I sculpt inwards, it will only influence the frontal face, not the back. Make sense?
Yeah.
Alright? So make sure that you are aware of this. So suddenly you see, hey, why is the back is going nuts? Because you did not check, or did not check the did not check the back face culling or back face mask. Right? So make it slightly bigger, smaller. Okay, just draw, make sure it is making sense. You can pull it inwards. Okay, so like that. Don't go super in depth. It's straight away, because later you're gonna adjust it. Okay, use that, and maybe around here, this way. As long as you get to see, okay, it's making sense. That should do. Okay lah, right? So I'm just gonna go use temp standard BDS. Be careful of the strength, right? Don't put too much. So very light, just to landmark. Hey, this is the ear area. Okay, this will come from here to here. Okay, then from here to here. Okay, and I'm going to smoothen this area. Okay, once you have done that, you see this part is okay. What happened to this area? Don't worry. Now you go back to the modify topology, mirror and well. Kapush, done. Okay.
Yeah.
So ears is done, face is done. Kind of like the first step. You're happy with this. You can then move on to the shoulders. Right. Later you come back for this. Happy?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Now it's starting to form. You can see how everything kind of like gels in together. I'm gonna go and select this dude, face, adjust a little bit. Get that. So that's that. And now, how do we add more stuff? Like for instance, how do we add more volumes to the entire body, right? So here you see, there's too much of you know distortion that is going on. You'll see this, stretchings and stretch marks that you see here. You see the meshes. Don't worry about it yet. Okay, I'll teach you how to adjust that. So now you want to add like the shoulders. Where this area is going to influence and so on and so forth. How is it going to blend from the neck to the shoulders, right? Put it in a very artistic naming convention, rather than going in here the tripod or whatever. I know. This one is going to happen. So whatever. I mean, moving on. What we can do is go to subtool, and this is where you start inserting. See, I constantly insert this, moving up here, right? Adjusting the scale, right? Don't worry too much whether it's going to blend in well or not. Just make sure the position is correct depending on what kind of character that you're building, right? Drag it down, and after this it's about, you know, you using the move tool, making your draw size big. Okay, remember when you put in sphere 3D, the symmetry will be off automatically, so you just have to press X. Okay, see this active symmetry, hit on it, X, and now the symmetry is back on. If not, it's just going to be one-sided. Okay, so now adjust it. All right, with the chest area, outputs. Can, so this is practically the head bus. Right, so if you're happy with this, say you want to add more, for instance the lower, this is a rib cage, right? The rib cage, just adjust it first, later you can come in and adjust again. Just do a rough estimation. Again, go back to insert, use polysphere, drag it down, make sure you're on a larger space of zone, adjust it, shape it, up to you however you want to add. Okay, adjust like that. Right, I'm going to go to B again, X. Okay, anything polysphere, make sure you press X, and this is your stomach area. Okay, roughly rough estimation. Okay, say you want to have more, so this is where you can do this, or you can come back to the side, make sure you off your perspective. Oops, not cut. Use a mask. I'm going to take this invert selection, and you can use your move tool, make a little bigger draw size, drag it. Okay, go back to side, and maybe you want to have it something here. Don't worry about this area, you can go back and adjust it later on. Okay, now you can unmask it, or you can still work on the mask, adjust it accordingly. Right, so once this is done, I can just smoothen this area. Ta-da-da! Can?
Yeah.
Right. Then you can append more, sphere 3D, or not append. Just go hit here. Append means, you see you're still in that selection, so just be careful. Again, okay, where is your pelvis is going to drop? Maybe around here, for instance. Snap it, adjust it accordingly. Again, alright, go to draw, X, adjust it, just see where it drops. Approximate, right? So don't worry too much. Okay, all this is landmark. This is all block out stages. Okay, if you don't see the bum that is coming in straight away, you don't need to sculpt from one thing. Remember, think about it as a Lego piece. Yeah, you're first doing the block out so that you get, okay, now I get the whole shape first, the whole silhouette correct, then only I go ahead and do all this detailing. If not, you're gonna go super wrong. Right, so insert, again insert. I keep on inserting sphere. Right, here maybe I want to do the shoulders. Up, up, up. Okay, anatomically it should be correct, like, it should make sense, I would say. Okay, it's always cutting in right. That's where you look back at your reference. I'm having my reference on my left hand side, but I'm not looking at it at the moment. I'm just showing you a rough idea of how to block out. So the character normally hunches a little bit so that you have the shoulder bit is coming out that way, right? And now go back to Q and press X if you want to, right? Adjust it accordingly, right? Just shape it, right? The hand, every time that you sculpt, do not just do hand that is super close to this area, right? Please avoid it. The reason why being is when you're super close to this area, whenever you move the hand or you open up the hands wide open, and you will see it's gonna cause you massive problem with the skinnings. Okay, Ken? Hello?
Okay.
Right. Happy dopey?
Kinda.
Kinda. So once you're happy with this, you can always shift to different subtools to work with, right? So here, if you're not happy with this, just move in and adjust it accordingly. See the rib cages is okay, and so on and so forth. Maybe you want to work on this guy. If you can't select like this, right, you get stuck. Let's make sure that you come back here and just do it on subtool, adjust it accordingly. So kind of like get the shape first. Drag it inwards maybe. It's okay if it's wrong. Use a scale clay brush and do a quick sculpt like that. Okay, just to landmark things. Okay. Up, up, up. Right. So once you get that done, okay, now you're happy. Say you like this, alright? So this is practically the torso, the head, and so on and so forth. Say you want to combine all this. Okay, what you can do is you can drag this eyes right above here. So anything that you're choosing, it goes down. So the ears will be combined with the head. So the ears and head will be in the top layer. So from here, okay, make sure you off, off all this. See off. Here you start. Off. So anything visible, say this three, you want to combine. What you can do is you can just do merge, merge visible. Okay. So come back here. So all invisible, merge visible. You can't undo. So from here you can merge down. See that? From the selection you merge down. Now this piece is all together as one mesh. Okay. Remember, as I told you, you work half, then it will just project half. So as you can see now, it's the shoulder pad is only one side, right? You don't see it here. Don't worry, because I will teach you how to cut this. Okay, so practically what you can do is holding Control Shift, you can clip this or you can do a trim. Alright, you can do trim rectangle. Right, once you cut this, it's half. Okay, and what you can do is you can go to a couple of steps. First it will be like too much, but sooner or later you'll go like, okay, this is cool. Now you have a complete body. Okay, did I go too fast? Hello?
Uh, can understand now.
ah you guys try first like, okay, so this week is about trial and error, I would say. Okay, Ken. So once you have done this, one more support, one more um, thing that you need to do is couple of steps. This video will be uploaded, don't worry. Go to Dynamesh, on Dynamesh. Okay, now you can do your smoothing. Okay, you can add things like that and you can smooth. Come in from here, blah blah blah, adjust it accordingly. Okay, depending on your draw size and so on and so forth. So here it will come in. Boop, boop, boop. This is muscle studies already lah. Adding in where you want to add your muscles. Okay, all this is landmarks. Okay, see that? And this part, and this is where you're gonna go like, oh, okay, this is this area, shoulder pad, and from the neck, it's supposed to come back, right? Can see?
Yeah.
Now you go like, oh, okay, now I get the idea. So these are muscle flows that you need to study. Okay, so here and here, go like that. Okay, I have this up to here, and say you're happy with this example. Right, I'm going to go a very thin line. Maybe you want to do a damn standard BDS. I'm just going to do from here, belly button, a bit more stronger. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, just drag it upwards up to here. Don't worry about it too much. Oh, cut, smoothen, cut around here, perhaps come inwards. This guy coming here. And if you want, depending what kind of character, are you going to go for hyper realistic or are you going to go for a cartoonic character? That's what you have to ask yourself. Okay, do that. It's not going to be super straight like this, so maybe it will be depending on how the muscle kind of like drops. Okay, so kind of like you're happy with this, maybe you want to do a little movement. So depending on the character, if it's a hunch character, the muscle structure is slightly different or the form is slightly different. So here, move it inwards. See that? I'm starting to form the body. If you want to see more of the head and so on and so forth, just on the head. Now you can see, oh, okay. Now does it make sense? You can see?
Yeah.
Simple
Yeah.
tricks like this. So, whoop. Okay. If you want to drag it over. And you start adjusting first. Don't go detail again. I keep on harping on this. Please don't go detail straight away. Okay. We all are, kind of like sometimes you just go, wow, I'm just not patient. I just want to see everything getting done really fast and so on and so forth. But end of the day, we do a lot of mistakes by then. Okay. Drag it inwards. The bump area if you want to have like that. Up to you. Okay. Say if you want to do head bust as such like this or half body torso and you must see, oh yeah, certain components like here. Drag it inwards. This is where the neck will be joining to the collarbone, and the collarbone will come like a bicycle handle, and that's where you're going to do like clay brush build up. Maybe you want to reduce the size a little bit. So say it's coming here, and then put a dot here, and it goes whoop. Okay, goes straight and then boop. That's how it joins. Okay, so once you have that, you kind of get, oh, okay, now I get the idea. Go boop, and maybe you want to put it in a little bit depending on how much of What muscle structures are you going to have there? You can see here, rough shapes. Drag it down. See that? Then only you go ahead and do this. I'll just do. Okay. From here I will drag in. You can see how the muscle flows kind of like, oh, okay. How does it join in together and make sense? Okay. There's a point around here. This will be influencing the upper muscle. I'll just drop in, and this is coming in from here under your armpit, and it just drops down like that. You can see now. Right, of course, this will come in here. Landmarks. Now I can see. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So for a start, this is how you start, right? And once you're happy with this, and then you do a clip brush. So holding Control Shift again, cut. See here, like statues. Okay. I mean here, whoop, cut. Da da da, and you're good to go. So this is your assignment for this week. Okay. So you're covering up a little of, I'm covering a little bit of muscle studies, right? And then the base fundamentals of sculpting. Okay, and there you go.
Yeah.
Happy? Feel better? Better than last week? Yes, no?
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay. So your goal here is it's not just about sculpting, it's about understanding how the muscle flow is and how everything blends together. Again, I've been harping on this. Okay, the reason why I'm harping on this is because this is fairly important as you build your character. Right? You need to know where the fold is and how do you want to make a believable character, whether it's going to be as realistic as you want or whether it's going to be cartoonic character. It doesn't really matter, right? So whichever that you're building, make sure that it's, oh, okay, this makes sense, this makes sense. Okay, Ken? See,
okay.
even this,
Okay.
it's quite detailed already, right? This is already starting to, I'm starting to do details. You don't, I'm just showing you an example, but you can be wrong. You can see here, symmetrically the character is going to fall in front, right?
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can just rotate this and adjust it accordingly. Now it's about balancing. Make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So these are the things that you need to study. You see, in perspective view, it will be different. In isometric view, it will be slightly different. So you need to understand. Isometric is drop dead. Side means side. Left means left. You get what I mean? Front means front. Top means top. In whereas in perspective view, it has three-dimensional. Isometric two-dimensional. This is three-dimensional. And three-dimensional you will see more depth. You will see kind of like certain volumes kind of it shrinks as it goes to the vanishing point. Make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So that's about it for today. Hopefully it is give you a little insight of how to do things and kind of like boost up your spirit. Okay, this makes sense now, right? and have fun. See, I'm starting to build. This is where the fun begins. You start to build. Oh, okay, that's cool. I can get the characters done and so on and so forth. See that? From side now, it feels much more solid. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. So if you want to have everything in white, like for instance, you want to have everything to be combined, of course, make sure the eye socket is really up and choose the ears. Okay, from the ears, or you can have the head on top. Okay, if you want to combine everything, so what you can do is, but before that, please make sure you save your project, right? So from here, you just have to merge down. Point, point. Okay, maybe from here, the head to the body, just merge down. Point. Okay, now all this is one piece. Okay, this is the tricky part. So when you merge down, when you're happy and all that, when okay, everything looks cool, right? So what you can do is you go to your geometry. Okay, this is what happens here. So when you hit Dynamesh, you see that you lose um, all the details. Why is because your resolution is quite low. So you want to make sure that you move up a little bit, say about one. You play with the numbers here, the slider. You hit Dynamesh and see what happens. So now it retains, but it's super high lah. See that? Okay. So this is where you come in. You adjust first. Couple of iterations here. Adjust the smoothness. Maybe you want to build something. Do and then smoothen it. The reason why you're doing Dynamesh is practically you want to join all this. You don't want to have all these creases. That is like it's not making sense. Okay. You don't want it to look separate. Like even for the ears. You see that? Now if you smoothen it, it will smooth nicely. You won't have that cut as a separate piece that has been, um, I would say, just been, how do I say, been merged. Okay, see that? Everything looks okay. So this will come right behind here. Up. Right? So once you're done with this, what you can do is, after Dynamesh, do a Z-remesher. Remember the steps, huh? Okay? Depending on how much of adaptivity that you want to have. Say, let's say adapt, Z-remesh, and let it finish the progress. If you can see here, it will go all the way to the end because it's a super high poly at the moment. You might lose your details depending on how much of adaptivity that you have set on the size. See, it becomes slightly, it's there, but you're kind of like, oh, okay, I've lost the details. Okay, so this as opposed to this. You can see? So that's why the blockout stages is very important, so that you know what to do and how you want to shape your entire character, then only add the details. Okay?
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
So that's all for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions before we end the class?